Hi, my name's Tom Cardon. I'm running for Town Council in District 2. I'm currently the chairman of the Derry Town Council. I've looked back over the last 3 years at some of the things that the Town Council has done. My first year as Town Councilor, we ran water and sewer down Route 28 from Clamhaven to Frost Farm. I hope that in the future that the Town Council will continue to run water and sewer down to the Wyndham line. It's really one of the last areas of Derry that can be developed, and our hope is that it'll help spur economic development in that area. Second year on the Town Council, the newly formed Property Maintenance Committee, I was chairman, and one of the things that we wanted to do was give the code enforcement some tools to help enforce some of their regulations. One of the most important things that came out of that committee was we ended up with a Citizens Committee, and what the Citizens Committee does is they make recommendations as to what properties in town need to be addressed. Probably two of the more visible projects that the committee had made recommendations for was the Derry Broadway pet store, which eventually came down this past year. And the next recommendation was 19 Elm Street, which will be taken down in the very near future. Currently this year, I'm chairman of the Economic Development Committee. That was a group that the Town Council formed, and we were just tasked with coming up with 3 to 5 things that we could do to help the town with economic development that wouldn't cost the town very much money. One of the first recommendations we made was to update the town website, which was really needed at that time. And that's really one of the first things that people look at when they go to look at Derry is their website. One of the other recommendations that that committee made was to come up with a plan for an economic development coordinator. We made that recommendation also to the Town Council, and hopefully in the near future that will be, we'll be hiring a person. And the last recommendation that the committee made was to become an official committee. So as of April 1st, the Economic Development Committee will be an official advisory committee of the town. Just this past year, the Town Council turned the 4A project over to the state. The state will be putting $53 million into that project and also has capped Derry and Londonderry at $5 million. Also this past year, the Town Council voted to extend the bike path from Frost Pond from Hood Pond up to the end of High Street. And what will happen then is at some point after 4A is done, we will work with the developer, and he's given us his promise that he would help us to extend the bike path up to the Londonderry line. One of the other things that I've worked with, I know I've done a lot of door-to-door over the past few years, and the main thing that people have talked to me about is the high tax rate. This past year, we dropped the tax rate 56 cents. The year before, we dropped the tax rate 15 cents, and the year before that, we level funded them. So I'm hopeful to be a voice for helping to keep Derry taxes low. I'm a hands-on person. It's not unusual for me to go out and address a resident's concern about sidewalks or whether they have a problem with their street or anybody that needs help. I'm always there to help them. One of the things that we did when the Adams Memorial Building was being done, I went up into the ceiling. I went up 25 feet with Alan Cody and checked out the ceiling before the Town Council voted to have that done over. That was pretty interesting going up there. And after the Property Maintenance Committee had voted to tear down or before they voted to tear down the 19 Elm Street, I went in there with the fire chief and a couple of town councilors, and it was pretty interesting what was going on in there, and it didn't take me too long to figure out that building needed to come down. So I would hopefully that you would vote for me in the March 8th election for Councilor District 2. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Chirichiello, and I'm running for District 4 Councilor. Many people have known me out there. I've been a resident of Derry for over 31 years. I've been married to my wife, Patricia. I have 2 daughters, and have enjoyed being a part of the town in some capacity or another for many years. Currently, I'm a state rep, finishing up my 3rd term. Before that, I was a town councilor in District 4 for 9 years. And before that, I was a planning board member for 8 years. One of the reasons why I'm running for District 4 Councilor is I see a need for some experience in a critical time in our town. Exit 4A is fast approaching, and there is $57 million in the 10-year highway fund starting in 2017 and finishing in 2022. So it's very critical that we have some experienced town councilors that can work on the economic development side of things, hire a town administrator, and do the right things to bring economic development so we can actually get some lower tax rates. We saw what happened last year on the town council, and there was not a lot of transparency. I want to bring that transparency back. And what I would do is I would propose line-by-line budgeting like we've always done when I was on the council. Yes, it's long and tedious, but that's what you're elected to do. You go line by line, the public at home can follow you, you've got department head input, and then you have public input. That's the proper way to do the budget. We need to get back to that. And I would submit to you that my experience in doing 9 years of budgets would be a major plus. The other critical thing that we need to do is bring a town administrator into town, the right town administrator, one with experience. It seems that the people that we've been hiring lately stay for a couple years, or in the case of the last one, not even a year. That can't happen in a town our size of 33,000 people. We need to find somebody that has some experience, and again, I've gone through that process 3 times. The first time we hired Russ Marcu, which I think is somebody that did a great job in the town. So I think my experience there will help find the right candidate. That's a key to making our town go forward. Next is the Economic Development Director. We need a full-time director. We don't need a part-time director. It's critical at this point, like I had mentioned. You got Exit 4A coming. You got Woodmont Orchards, which is a $1 billion project in a neighboring town. That's a 20-year project that's going to bring a lot of jobs. For the people of Derry, we'll be sharing those jobs. There's be a lot of businesses locating. We need to be proactive today and start planning today, because that's coming fast and furious, and it's coming, folks. So we need to be prepared. If we're not prepared, the door closes. We're going to be stuck with high tax rates for a long time. So it's critical that we hire someone there as well. The next thing that I like to talk about is the 5 union contracts that have not been, we don't have contracts for the 5 unions. We need to sit down across the table and figure out a way to get everybody on the same page and get these contracts signed. That's going to be critical for our town. As many know, we're under a tax cap. The tax cap, there's not a lot of extra money. There's no wild swings of spending in the town. There hasn't been. We've had a tax cap for over 15 years. We need to sit down with the unions and iron something out and do it and get that ironed out right away. One of the things that's critical is reining in some of the cost for the health care on that end. So I think that I think the unions know me. I know a lot of the players here in town. I know some of the players in the state. So with my expertise, I think that it would be a big help for this council. And I ask for your vote on March 8th. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Al Dimmick. For those of you that don't know me, I've been involved in the town for over 20 years. I've been on the Highway Safety Committee. I've been on the ZBA. I've been on the town planning board. I've been there for the people. Now I'm on the committee for blight, which is a committee that we've worked with people that own property in town that's been in bad shape. We've talked with them and we've brought them up to code, and I've also been on the Economic Development Board, which is trying to come back with a good economic development package for the town of Derry. In my time as a town councilor, I have tried to be there for the people. If you need a town councilor, just because I was elected by the people in District 4 doesn't mean that I will not listen to you or I will not do what needs to be done to assist you. If you're a resident of the town of Derry and you vote for me to become a town councilor, I'm a town councilor for all people of Derry, not just District 4. I've been here for the people. I've had other councilors that didn't respond when the people needed them, but I want you to know I don't care what district you live in. If I'm voted into office for a second term, I will be there for the people. I will be there to try and keep the costs down for the taxpayers. That is the function of the town council, is to control spending, to see that things are done for the people of the town. I'm not there just for gratification on my part. I'm there because I want the people of Derry to have a voice. And as you've heard, I have a strong voice, and I will speak for the people. I thank you very much for your time, and I hope that the election day that you will consider voting for me. Because if I don't get your vote, I don't get to do more good for the town of Derry that I would like to do. So remember, on election day, your vote counts. Have a great day, and thank you very much.
Good day, my fellow friends and neighbors within Derry. My name is Leonard, Lenny Perkins, as I'm known. As I stated within the meeting that we had on February 11th, I believe it was, up at the VFW, I'm simply a neighbor, a friend, somebody you might have seen over at the Masonic Temple, a veteran of 32 years. All right, I've been here 10 years myself, married to a lovely bride, Rolla. I have 2 boys within the community who go to school in kindergarten and 2nd grade. Why am I here as a candidate? I simply wanted to be able to give back to the community as well as build a future for my sons. The idea of it is I saw the community last year come up against the council and change some of those things that the council was looking at doing. I think that we need change within the community, and the community has spoken. My neighbors, my friends, all have said the same thing. We need to be able to evaluate what we have for a budget, what we need to be able to spend wisely, and build a future for those who come behind us. I'm here because I want to be able to do that, nothing more. I hope that I can, as the councilor at large, be able to build on what we've done in the community and kind of look for that change within a balanced budget, a budget that we're able to maneuver and build upon and find ways to reduce the costs to my fellow neighbors, as well as build on the future to the point where we can bring in new business within this community, looking at Exit 4A, 28, the bypass, where we've spent some infrastructure monies. At the same time, it's not going to be easy because there are several things that need to be done. We have the contracts that need to be signed for the unions. We have other items within our budget that may cost us some money going down the road. We've not recouped some of the monies that we've spent for infrastructure cost when we put in sewer and fire hydrants. We need to be able to attract people to connect to that as well. We need to look department by department, line by line. You know, are the departments right-sized? Is the budget right-sized for the community? Are we doing the right things with the monies that we have? You know, The fire stations are one item that a lot of my constituents, as well as my peers for the councilor position, are looking at regarding, you know, do we have the stations in the right places? Do we have the amount of staffing right? You know, those are things that need to be looked at, evaluated, and put into the right place for us to be able to move forward with the changes that are coming about with the I-93 Exit 4A, and as we grow as a community. You know, response times is a key item within the community that I hear from my neighbors. Beyond that, it's a matter of, you know, pairing services with different items that we have within the budget. You know, can we afford different things? Can we move forward with different things? Can we build on the budget that we have today and make it stronger and make it to the point where you and I can leave a legacy behind, not 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years down the road, but 5 or 10 years down the road. Obviously, things may change, but the idea is that we make an impact today and make the changes that we need to. Have a great evening.
Hello, my name is Marc, and I am running for Councilor at Large here in town. A little bit about my history. I have 10 years living in the community. My family, I have a daughter that is 8 years old and a beautiful, wonderful wife. I have served the community over the past few years in many roles. As Vice Chair of the Economic and Development Committee. I have also served as Vice Chair of the Energy and Environmental Committee. I have also served on boards with the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission, Solar Up Chester Derry, as well as the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission's Brownfields program. I am also an alternate member of the Planning Board. The reasons why I am running is there are many ways that we can reduce taxes without reducing any of the workforce or a reduction of any services that we've all grown accustomed to for many years. I have been working on and developing many plans to increase our community's income without placing a tax burden on the residents of the community. I use innovation leadership techniques and a program of sustainable community redevelopment to accomplish these goals. Once again, my name is Marc. I'm running for town council. I hope to earn your vote in March. I'd like to thank all the members of Channel 17 and Channel 23 of Derry Cable Community Television for allowing me to produce this spot. Thank you, and have a great day.
Hi, my name's Mary Till, and I'm running for town moderator. And I'd like to thank the people here at Derry TV for offering me the opportunity to explain to you why I'm running. I'm running for town moderator because I believe, actually it's going to sound like a cliche, but I believe that the right to vote is the most precious privilege that a free people can have. In fact, I believe that it is the very means by which a people can remain free. I've enjoyed working with Margie Ives, the current town moderator, on the past several elections, especially the one in October 2015, when we had 3 times as many people vote as we had anticipated, and we ended up having to hand count nearly 4,000 votes. And I've observed recounts held by the Secretary of State for legislative races here in New Hampshire. And in 2008, I observed a recount of the presidential primary. While serving, I was elected as a state representative in 2013 and 14, and while serving, I was a member of the New Hampshire House Election Law Committee. And it was there that I learned a lot about the rules and regulations, idiosyncrasies, and laws that govern elections, federal, state, and local, here in New Hampshire. You know, Margie Ives was a great town moderator in the many years that she served, and we will miss her. but I think I can step into her shoes. Not fill them, but step into them. I intend to emulate her even-handed treatment of voters and candidates alike, and I will leave no stone unturned to ensure the integrity of the vote. I will work diligently with the town clerk and the supervisors of the checklist to have each election run as smoothly as possible, and will greet each voter with a smile. If you believe, as I do, that protecting our democracy is an honor and a privilege, then I ask for your vote for town moderator in the town elections on March the 8th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Judy Strakalaitis. I'm a supervisor of the checklist, and I'm running for re-election. The supervisors of the checklist are responsible for registering new voters and performing maintenance of the checklist. All towns have 3 supervisors, whether they have 100 voters or 22,000 voters like Derry does. We're the largest voter checklist in the country. Our checklist is also the most complicated in the state. Because of our form of government, we have one checklist divided into 4 different districts. I'm proud that because of our expertise in the law and election procedures, we have the cleanest checklist possible. The supervisors in Derry do much more than simply register new voters and perform routine maintenance of the checklist. The size and complexity of our checklist demands dedication to the integrity of the election process, the knowledge necessary to apply statutes and promote efficiencies, and commitment to community outreach and voter education. It requires the highest ethical standards to ensure the voter checklist and elections in general are not tainted by partisan reproach. I'm proud of my work on the supervisors of the checklist. My passion for the electoral process and the enthusiasm for voter participation drives me to spend many additional hours each week answering voter questions, providing information, and directing voters to appropriate resources. It's nerdy and it's the nitty-gritty of the elections, but I love it. It's what happens behind the scene to make our democracy work. I hope you will consider voting for me for supervisor of the checklist on March 8th. Thank you.